Guys, please explain this to me. Why did Stranger Things do this to Jonathan? Yeah, he wasn't that popular of a character like Steve, or a morally ambiguous, interesting character like Billy, or an explosively magnetic character like Eddie. But he had his own stuff. He was alright. He was still a decent character with an arc. Why did they change him into a hollow shell of a being that is supposed to be Jonathan in season 4? Why? I know what you're gonna say. The show has too many characters. Okay, but then why are they bringing new characters if they're gonna kill them at the end of the season anyway, but not working on previously existing characters that they're not gonna kill no matter what? That being said, I still don't want Jonathan to die in season 5 because I think the Byers have been through enough. Will has been through enough. Joyce, I don't want her to lose her other son. Okay, I think they've been through enough financially, emotionally. I just want them to be happy. But I want Jonathan to do something this season, okay? I mean, Steve can die. He can have the ultimate sacrifice, right? That's his entire arc at this point. Just be good, do good, and you're not going to get any reward in return, right? You don't do it for the reward. Do it because you're a good person. If he dies in the end, I understand the sacrifice. I don't want Jonathan to die. I care about Jonathan because I miss the Jonathan that once was. And I imagine the Jonathan that could have been, and it hurts me. Why did the show suddenly start violating him and then just didn't care about him at all? Jonathan was the OG freak before Eddie was one. He was actually alone. At least Eddie had some sort of social life. He had charisma. His dad was deadbeat, greedy gold digger who just wanted to drain his family of all the finances. He used to bully both of his sons. He called his younger son the F-slur, the older son a freak. And then he just left. And his mother was struggling with both of them. And even when Bill goes missing, it's not like Jonathan is off partying. No. He's working to support his family. And then he still loses his brother. And he thinks he's dead for a long time. Imagine his mental state. And his mother is acting delusional and gaga, and she's not even ready to accept her son is dead. And then even when his body is found at the lake and it's in the freezer, he is the one who arranges the funeral. He has to identify the body. And he's just a teenager. Imagine the burden of that on his shoulders. And his father is, well, he's not contributing anything. He's just a piece of trash. People actually accuse him of killing his brother, Steve, and his friends. And no, the only bad thing that Jonathan does in season 1 is take bad pictures of Nancy. But that's just the show making him act out of character because the plot needed to happen. My pure Jonathan would never do that. I believe it. Although I think Steve was being reasonable by being angry at him taking photos, but he does break his camera even though he's poor. And he knows he can't get a new one. And he gets him a new camera in there. No, it's actually Nancy. Or it's Steve, I don't remember exactly. But it's weird because Steve actually starts shaming Nancy and writes weird stuff about her openly with spray paint. Yeah, his friends did it, but he was okay with it. And then he gets beaten by Jonathan. Jonathan is actually strong. Why doesn't the show talk about it? Like, he never gets beaten like Steve does. He actually beats the shit out of Steve. He's a strong man. He just keeps his strength hidden. People even forget that the iconic weapon that Steve uses, the nail bat, that was made by Jonathan. The nail bat being an euphemism for how Jonathan does so much and Steve takes away all the glory. Jonathan hates people. He tells Nancy, oh, you're rebellious, but you're just like everyone else. And he's not a loner in a way that he wants to be accepted by society. He has accepted that being alone makes him cool in his own way, that he's better than others. He thinks his music taste is real music. That's what he tells Will. He's very protective of his family, and he doesn't really like new people in. We see that in season 2. With Bob, even though he's so nice, Jonathan is just not very pleased with having a new member in the family. Also, I think Nancy and Jonathan are a better couple than Nancy and Steve. Steve can get very overbearing, okay? Nancy could never be herself with him. She is comfortable with Jonathan. She doesn't have to make herself small or change herself. That's ultimately what we want in a relationship, right? Jonathan accompanies Nancy everywhere, so when she's fired, he's also fired. Now when they have a fight about it, they both make very reasonable arguments. But by the end of the season, Nancy's arc is kind of resolved because her mother tells her to not be scared and to do what she thinks is right, which I think is great. But Jonathan's problems are never addressed, and this is the first time we see the show started to violate him. The show started to trivialize him because he's the one who apologizes to Nancy. And it's like his financial problems just do not matter. And by the end of the season, he moves out with his family anyway, so I guess that never mattered. Which brings me to another point. He has a new member in his family now. Not even addressing the financial problem here of managing and taking care of the expenses of a new member in the family. Jonathan barely has ever interacted with Levin. We saw before he's not very comfortable with new people in his home, like Bob. But suddenly Eleven is just in the family and he's fine with it. We never see them interact that much, even in season 4. The only time we saw them interact before this was when he took out the worm from her leg. That's it. And now we're just supposed to believe that he's fine with all of this? Okay. So season 4, whatever remnants of a person that was Jonathan once are gone. And he's just a stoner. And he's comic relief with another comic relief sidekick guy who also is a stoner. And the only human moment he has in the entire season is when he communicates with his brother about his feelings. Because Will is very sad, he's closeted, he cannot express his emotions. And that's the only time where he's like, oh, you're my brother, I love you, and he hugs you. That's it. By the end of the season, although him and Nancy are still hugging and stuff, the Nancy-Steve romance has kind of reignited. I mean, Nancy does tell him that Steve has really changed. Well, I wish there was a way of Jonathan being in the story and seeing that for himself. That would have been so much more interesting. Also, I'm not a big fan of Steve and Nancy getting together again. Okay, that would feel regressive. The whole point of Steve's character. Okay, we're back in Steve's character. Okay, the whole point of his character is that just because you go through a redemption arc doesn't mean you get what you want. Instead, you can get something better. Like if you're looking for a girlfriend, you might get a friend. Or if you hate babysitting, but you might get a child friend. I don't know. But I think the best closure for Steve's character would be to just be single or die or just get another girlfriend or some shit. Now I have more videos to make about Stranger Things, especially in these few days till season 5 comes out. So please like and subscribe if you liked the video. And I'm gonna make videos on Nancy and a few other characters that have been forgotten by the public. So please stay tuned, like and subscribe.